for most husbands. But leading your wife, and that's the whole point of being yoked together. The head ox leads. You know what I mean? And so we it's like the head ox that's supposed to be leading is now following the one who's supposed to be following. You know, and that's easy to do because we start chasing those bottoms. You know what I mean? Us men, we like those bottoms. You know, those girl bottoms, and we start chasing them. You know what I mean? And we get distracted from actually being out in the front and leading. The women should be chasing our bottoms, not the other way around. We gotta be out pulling ahead, and they gotta be following us, because that's God's divine order that He's established. You know, Eve led Adam in the garden in that moment. In the fall moment, Eve was communicating with the serpent. She gave the serpent her ear, and she rebelled. And her husband followed her in the rebellion, in the disobedience. And so there's a lot of women out there who are in relationships. They don't want to listen. They're always pulling in another direction. You don't know anything. Always, that creates a lot of conflict and strife and division in a marriage. You don't know anything. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to my girlfriends. I'm going to listen to someone else on YouTube or whatever, and don't want to follow their husband. There's a spirit of rebellion in a lot of relationships, in a lot of marriages, which is only leads to a house dividing against itself, not being able to stand. So us men, this is what we're going to teach our men in the Christian Singles Marriage School. Lead your families strong into God, in faith. Instead of your wife coming to you and say, honey, let's pray, you need to be one that says, come on, baby, let's pray. You need to lead your families. You need to initiate. You need to take control of your wife and rein her in. You know what I mean? Like a bonsai tree that's growing all wild. You need to get in there with some scissors and be like, snip, snip. Alright, I'm cutting this out of you. You ain't allowed to have this no more. What do you mean? I like playing my Candy Crush. I need it. It keeps me busy. No, we're definitely cutting this out. Snip. Why? I need to talk to Susie. She my best friend. Nope, Susie, she's cut off. Why are you taking my cell phone? I can't live without my cell phone. Here. I bought some cloth for you. Learn how to make some clothes. I don't like this. This is boring. So sometimes, and Yeah, I don't know why I was doing that. But, yeah, us men, just, okay, good, still recording. Um, not only do us men need to learn how to discipline ourself, our body, I think we need to learn how to discipline our wives too, bro. I'm serious. These women had to have a spirit of rebellion, don't want to listen. Not only do we as husbands need to train up our daughters to be better, with and our culturals. And so we're fighting a spiritual culture. We want to adopt a spiritual, God honoring pattern of behavior in ourselves and in our lives, right? We want that. But we're also inside of a worldly culture that rejects that. And so there's a battle there. Fixing marriages ain't gonna be easy. It ain't. It's a lot of hard work. But Lord Chaitanya's on the case, researching the marriage phenomenon and asking questions. Should a man discipline his wife? She's his body. She's his flesh. Just a question. And should a man have multiple wives? I mean, like, if depending on the ladies, you know what I mean, who you dealing with. I mean, like, this is not intended, because I truly believe if you truly love your wife, you ain't gonna abuse her, mistreat her. But as a husband ministers to his wife through the hands of love, saying, I need this vine to be fruitful for me. I need my wife to be fruitful for me. Not full of thorns and infestations of blight and mildew or whatever. I need all that out of my wife, so she's fruitful for me. Maybe my mindset and what I believe about marriage is not suitable for finding a wife in this area. I don't know. Maybe I gotta move. Maybe my Lord Chaitanya's search for a wife of noble character should be on the road somewhere. I should be driving around searching, because maybe what I'm looking for is just thorns and thistles in this area. You know what I mean? And sometimes you gotta think like that, like, you know. Just a question. And I'm glad you're here. And this is a moment for us men to really start looking at the marriage institution in the West. Half of them were falling in divorce, and the other half that remain, like, are they healthy? Are they productive? Or they got a bunch of weeds and thorns springing up, just choking out the life, and so there's some relationship dynamics that need to change. Just my thoughts and my ideas. Uh, so um, my wife, man, I'm telling you, not that I enjoy inflicting pain on my own flesh. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Who would ever want to? But it's just a question that I have. And so when you have this is important for a woman to consider when she's thinking about covenanting with a husband. I would think that I would want a man that I know loves God and loves me, loves his neighbor as himself. If you're a man that demonstrates love to God and a love towards fellow man, I want to see that love in you, because a good tree produces good fruit. I mean, let's just be honest. A good man is going to be producing the good fruit of the Spirit. That's what I want to know. For if I'm and not just for a woman, right? You know what I mean? A woman looking at a man. You know what I mean? You need to be looking at that. Like, okay, I need to make sure I see some good fruit of the Spirit of God in you before I'm thinking about walking down and binding myself to you under covenant and yoking myself to you under covenant. I need to know, if you're a woman looking at a man, I need to know that first and foremost. Are you attached to God? Are you a good tree? Because God is a good God. And anyone who's attached to God is going to bear that fruit of good and of God and of the Spirit. That's what I believe. And so, I need to know you're attached to God. You're a good tree bearing good fruit. Whether you're a man or you're a woman, that's the first thing I'd be looking at. Is there good fruit in this life? The spirit of love and kindness and compassion and mercy and gentleness. And she's submitting to her husband. And her husband sees love when he looks at his wife. Sees his own body. You know what I mean? Like, and is willing to work that she would be better. Because when she's fruitful for him. Because that's who she is. You know what I mean? That's his body. And so, just like a bonsai tree, sometimes you gotta get in there like, you're like, alright, I'm gonna tie this up. Tie it up. Tie this branch up. I'm gonna cut this wing. Gone. Because in the end, you're making your own tree fruitful for you, for your pleasure and for your enjoyment. And so I don't see nothing wrong with that. Taking my body and